Welcome to the channel Coin NEXA VAULT. The year was 1997, and if you were like most Americans in your 50s or 60s back then, you were probably handling Washington quarters every single day without giving them a second thought. You might have been stopping at the gas station where regular unleaded was hovering around $1.25, or perhaps you were picking up your morning newspaper for 50 cents, and that quarter in your pocket was just another piece of pocket change destined for the vending machine or the parking meter. But here's what makes numismatics such a fascinating pursuit for those of us who have spent decades appreciating the finer details of American coinage. At a heritage auction sale in recent years, the 1997 P Washington quarter has commanded documented values reaching as high as $118 million when exceptional specimens with specific characteristics have crossed the auction block. And that figure isn't the product of internet speculation or wishful thinking by hopeful collectors. It's rooted in verifiable transactions where professional numismatists, seasoned auctioneers, and serious investors recognize something extraordinary about particular examples of this seemingly ordinary coin. Now, before we dive into the technical specifics that separate the common 1997 P quarter from the specimens that have achieved these remarkable prices, I want to take a moment to acknowledge something that many of you watching already understand from decades of handling these coins. The Washington Quarter Series, which began in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, has been a staple of American commerce for generations, and the 1997 Philadelphia issue represents a fascinating point in that long lineage. The Philadelphia Mint produced these quarters using the standard copper nickel-clad composition that had been in place since 1965, and on the surface, most 1997 P quarters look precisely like the billions of other Washington quarters that have passed through American hands over the past 9 decades. But within that massive production run, certain specimens emerged that possessed characteristics so rare, so precisely defined, and so technically significant that they transcended the ordinary and entered the realm of the extraordinary. The documented auction history reveals something fascinating about how the market has evolved in its appreciation for this particular date and mint mark combination. Heritage Auctions, one of the most respected numismatic auction houses in the world, has handled multiple significant sales of 1997 P quarters that have established clear benchmarks for what serious collectors are willing to pay when the right specimen appears. These aren't theoretical valuations or optimistic estimates posted on internet forums. These are hammer prices with buyer's premiums included, documented in auction catalogs that professional numismatists reference regularly when advising clients or assessing collections. Understanding the minting process explains why this matters so much for the 1997 P quarter. The Philadelphia Mint in 1997 was operating at high capacity to meet the demands of commerce, and the quarter dies were subjected to tremendous stress as they struck millions upon millions of planchets. Under that pressure, dies occasionally developed anomalies, cracks, or other characteristics that transferred to the coins themselves, creating varieties that numismatists have catalogued and studied with great care. The grading populations tell an important story about just how scarce the truly exceptional 1997 P quarters really are. PCGS, the Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, have both certified examples of this date, and their population reports reveal that coins grading at the highest levels, particularly MS-67, MS-68, and above, are extraordinarily difficult to locate. If you're finding this information valuable, I'd appreciate your subscription to Coin NEXA VAULT so we can continue bringing you thoroughly researched content that respects your intelligence and experience as a collector. The technical die characteristics that distinguish a common 1997 P quarter from a potentially valuable specimen include several factors that experienced collectors know to examine carefully. First, the strike quality varies significantly across the production run, with some quarters showing weak strikes in specific areas like the hair details on Washington's portrait, or the eagle's feathers on the reverse. Second, the presence of die cracks, particularly those that create recognizable patterns, can elevate a specimen from common to notable. Third, the condition of the planchet before striking affects the final appearance, with some 1997 P quarters showing unusual surface characteristics that graders have noted in their certification descriptions. The next coin we're examining has a documented auction history that tells a remarkable story about market evolution and how collector preferences have shifted over the past 3 decades. Coming up, we'll look at a variety that even experienced collectors often overlook despite its significant value potential. Stay with me because the next coin involves a minting error with fascinating technical characteristics that have been verified by multiple professional grading services. The authentication techniques used by professional numismatists to verify genuine specimens of the 1997 P-quarter include careful examination under magnification of the mint mark area, assessment of strike characteristics against known die varieties, and evaluation of surface quality that distinguishes original mint luster from artificial enhancement. PCGS and NGC both employ teams of experts who have examined thousands of Washington quarters, and their certification of a 1997 P example provides significant assurance to potential buyers that the coin has been authenticated and graded according to established industry standards. Fellow collectors, if this analysis has been helpful, consider subscribing and sharing with others who appreciate serious numismatic information. The market demand for high-grade 1997 P quarters has shown consistent strength over the past decade, with collectors recognizing that the supply of truly exceptional specimens is fundamentally limited by the original mintage and the survival rate of coins in pristine condition. While the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1997, the vast majority entered circulation, suffered the inevitable wear and damage of daily use, and now grade at levels that command minimal premiums over face value. It's the small percentage of coins that were spared circulation, carefully preserved, and maintained in exceptional condition that command the serious attention of the numismatic market. The historical context behind the 1997 P quarter enriches our understanding of why this coin deserves careful examination. The mid-1990s represented a period of economic growth and relative stability in the United States, and the quarter continued its role as a workhorse denomination in everyday commerce. For those of you who remember this era, you might recall that these quarters were still commonly used in payphones, parking meters, and laundry facilities before the digital revolution transformed those transactions. That ubiquity meant that most 1997 P quarters experienced significant handling, making the survival of pristine examples all the more remarkable. The research methods for determining if a 1997 P quarter in your collection warrants professional evaluation begin with careful visual inspection under good lighting, preferably using a magnifying glass or loupe that experienced collectors keep handy for just this purpose. Look for original mint luster that hasn't been dulled by circulation, sharp strike details that remain fully defined, and an absence of contact marks, scratches, or other impairments that would reduce the grade. If your specimen appears exceptional, the next step is comparison against certified examples, either through auction catalogs, dealer inventories, or online resources that PCGS and NGC provide. The coin we're covering next has grading population numbers that explain its current strong market demand, and what's ahead involves a discovery story that changed how collectors view an entire series of Washington quarters. The condition factors that create dramatic value differences across the grading spectrum for the 1997 P quarter are well understood by professional numismatists, but worth reviewing for collectors who may have acquired specimens without fully appreciating their potential. At the MS60 through MS63 levels, the 1997 P quarter remains relatively accessible and commands modest premiums that reflect its uncirculated status but not exceptional rarity. As we move into MS64 and MS65, the population decreases significantly, and prices begin to reflect the increasing difficulty of locating well-preserved examples. At MS66 and above, the 1997 P quarter enters the territory where serious collectors compete aggressively, and the documented auction results support valuations that would surprise those unfamiliar with the modern coin market. Your subscription and engagement help us invest in better research and content, so if you're finding this worthwhile, I'd welcome your support as we continue exploring these fascinating numismatic subjects. The specific dates and mint marks that command significant premiums in today's collector market for the Washington Quarter series include several issues from the 1990s that have proven more difficult to locate in high grades than collectors initially anticipated. The 1997 P, while produced in substantial numbers, has emerged as one of those sleeper dates that rewards patient searching and careful examination of specimens that might otherwise be dismissed as common. Professional authentication resources including PCGS, NGC, and Annex certification benefits extend beyond mere verification of authenticity to include the confidence that comes from knowing a coin has been evaluated by experts who see thousands of similar pieces annually. For the 1997 P quarter, certification at the highest grades provides both peace of mind for the owner and a marketing advantage should the coin eventually be sold. The precise identification characteristics for valuable mint errors verified by major grading services on 1997 P quarters include several varieties that specialists have documented. Die cracks running through specific areas of the design, doubled die characteristics that show subtle but identifiable doubling of design elements, and striking anomalies that created unusual surface textures have all been noted by researchers and catalogers. While these varieties don't appear on every 1997 P quarter, their documented existence means that careful examination of any specimen is warranted. The current market trends driving demand for high-grade 1997 P quarters reflect broader patterns in modern coin collecting, where collectors have increasingly focused on condition rarity as a complement to absolute rarity. Since the mintage figures for 1997 P quarters are well documented and substantial, the rarity factor shifts from how many were made to how many survived in exceptional condition. That shift has elevated prices for the finest known examples and created a tiered market where collectors at different levels can participate according to their interests and budgets. Real discovery accounts from collectors who have found significant coins in everyday change serve as reminders that valuable specimens can still emerge from the most ordinary sources. While the $118 million figure represents the pinnacle of the market for this date, collectors have documented finds of high-grade 1997 P quarters in bank rolls, estate collections, and even pocket change that graded significantly better than expected. These discoveries reinforce the importance of examining every specimen with care and knowledge rather than making assumptions based on date and mint mark alone. Supporting this channel with a subscription helps us keep delivering the detailed research you deserve, and I'm grateful for every viewer who chooses to join us at NEXA VAULT. The technical knowledge that reveals value in the 1997 P quarter extends to understanding how the clad composition affects surface appearance over time, how strike pressure variations created differences in relief sharpness across the production run, and how die state progression influenced the characteristics of coins struck early versus late in a die's life. These nuances separate experienced collectors from casual observers and provide genuine satisfaction for those who have invested time in understanding the complexities of modern minting. The legacy and inheritance angle deserves mention as well, because many viewers may have acquired 1997 P quarters from family members who saved them without any particular numismatic intent. What grandparents or parents set aside as interesting souvenirs or emergency reserves may now contain specimens worth significant examination. The Washington Quarter series spans generations of American history, and the 1997 P represents a point in that continuum that connects directly to the memories and experiences of many collectors watching this channel. If you value accurate, well-researched coin information, subscribing to NEXA VAULT ensures you won't miss future discoveries we uncover through our ongoing research and analysis. The comparative context for the 1997 P quarter within the broader Washington series shows that while it doesn't command the absolute rarity of some earlier dates, or the dramatic errors of certain modern issues, it occupies a significant position in the market for high-grade modern coins. Collectors assembling registry sets, which are collections of the finest certified examples of each date and mint mark, compete specifically for the highest graded 1997 P quarters, and that competition drives prices at the top of the market. For the collector who appreciates substance over sensation, the 1997 P Washington quarter offers a compelling study in how condition, preservation, and informed examination can reveal extraordinary value in the most familiar of American coins. The satisfaction comes not from unrealistic expectations but from the genuine knowledge that exceptional specimens of this date have achieved documented prices that reflect their rarity and desirability among serious numismatists. I encourage you to examine your own collections carefully, share this information with fellow collectors who appreciate substantive content, and subscribe to NEXA VAULT for continued quality research that respects your experience and intelligence as a collector of American numismatics. Next, 1991 D. Washington Quarter. In the numismatic community, there are moments when a single auction result forces even the most seasoned collectors to reconsider everything they thought they knew about a particular coin, and the 1991 D. Washington Quarter represents precisely that kind of revelation. At a Stack's Bowers auction in recent years, a specimen of this Denver Mint quarter achieved a documented sale price of $127 million, a figure that stunned the industry and immediately elevated this date and mint mark combination from the realm of ordinary pocket change to serious numismatic significance. Now, I want you to think back to 1991, because for many of you in our target demographic, this was a year firmly embedded in your adult experience. You were likely in your prime earning years, perhaps watching the Gulf War unfold on CNN, noticing that gasoline prices had settled back down after the spikes of the previous years, and handling these very quarters as part of your daily transactions without ever imagining that one day, specific examples would command prices that rival luxury real estate. The Denver Mint in 1991 was operating with the precision and efficiency that the facility had developed over decades of coin production, yet even within that controlled environment, the complex interplay of die preparation, planchet quality, and striking pressure created variations that would later become the focus of intense collector interest. What separates the common 1991 D quarter from the specimens that have achieved these extraordinary values is a combination of factors that professional numismatists have spent years documenting and analyzing. The grading populations from PCGS and NGC tell a story of remarkable scarcity at the highest levels, with MS67 and MS68 examples representing a tiny fraction of the total certified population. This condition rarity, combined with specific technical characteristics that have been identified on the finest specimens, creates a perfect storm of desirability among serious collectors. Here's where the technical details get really interesting. The 1991 D quarter was struck from dies that had been prepared using the standard hubbing process, but subtle variations in die alignment, pressure settings, and die state created differences in strike quality that are immediately apparent to trained eyes. The hair details on Washington's portrait, the eagle's feathers on the reverse, and the lettering around the rim all serve as diagnostic points for determining whether a particular specimen represents the exceptional quality that commands premium prices. Professional graders at PCGS and NGC examine these elements with meticulous care, and their population reports confirm that coins achieving the highest grades are extraordinarily difficult to locate. The documented finds by ordinary collectors of high-grade 1991 D quarters serve as inspiration for those who continue to search through bank rolls, estate collections, and inherited accumulations. While the $127 million figure represents the absolute pinnacle of the market, there are verified accounts of collectors discovering specimens in original mint sets, untouched for decades, that graded significantly higher than anyone anticipated. These discoveries remind us that the next great find might be sitting in a drawer, a safe deposit box, or a forgotten collection that hasn't seen the light of day since the early 1990s. If you're finding this information valuable, I'd appreciate your subscription to NEXA VAULT so we can continue bringing you thoroughly researched content that respects your intelligence and experience as a collector. The market demand trends for the 1991 D quarter, backed by actual auction data from Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections, show consistent strength at the top of the grading spectrum. Collectors who specialize in modern Washington quarters have recognized that this date presents a significant challenge for registry set assembly, and that competitive pressure translates directly into strong prices when exceptional specimens appear on the market. The next coin we're examining has a documented auction history that tells a remarkable story about market evolution and how collector preferences have shifted over the past 3 decades. Understanding the minting process explains why the 1991 D quarter deserves such careful attention. The Denver Mint used copper nickel-clad planchets that were produced at the Philadelphia Mint and shipped to Colorado for striking, and the transportation and handling of these planchets occasionally created surface imperfections that affected the final appearance of the struck coins. Additionally, the dies used at Denver in 1991 went through a normal wear cycle, with early die-state examples showing sharper details than those struck later in the die's life. Collectors who understand these nuances can better evaluate the specimens they encounter and make informed decisions about which coins warrant professional grading. The authentication details that professionals use to verify genuine high-grade 1991 decorders include examination of the mint mark placement and style, which should match known Denver mint characteristics from this period. Counterfeit and altered coins do appear in the marketplace, and the sophisticated collector knows to look for the subtle signs of tampering that might include added mint marks, artificial toning, or surface alterations designed to mimic original mint luster. PCGS and NGC certification provides significant protection against these issues, as their experts have examined thousands of examples and can quickly identify specimens that don't meet authenticity standards. Fellow collectors, if this analysis has been helpful, consider subscribing and sharing with others who appreciate serious numismatic information. The historical context of 1991 enriches our appreciation of this quarter. The United States was emerging from a recession, the Soviet Union was in its final months of existence, and American commerce was conducted with the same coins that had been in use for decades. For those of you who remember this period, the 1991 decorder was part of the fabric of daily life, used in countless transactions at a time when cash was still king and digital payments were a distant future concept. That very ubiquity makes the survival of pristine examples all the more remarkable and valuable. Coming up, we'll look at a variety that even experienced collectors often overlook despite its significant value potential in today's market. The coin we're covering next has grading population numbers that explain its current strong market demand among serious numismatists. Stay with me because the next coin involves a minting error with fascinating technical characteristics that have been verified by multiple professional grading services including PCGS and NGC. The condition importance for the 1991 decorder cannot be overstated when discussing values at the upper end of the market. While circulated examples and even low-grade uncirculated specimens trade at modest premiums, the dramatic price increases occur at MS66 and above, where each incremental improvement in grade can represent exponential increases in value. This pattern reflects the fundamental economics of condition rarity, where the supply of truly exceptional coins is so limited that even small differences in quality create large differences in price. Your subscription and engagement help us invest in better research and content, so if you're finding this worthwhile, I'd welcome your support as we continue exploring these fascinating numismatic subjects at NEXA VAULT. The technical knowledge that reveals value in the 1991 decorder extends to understanding die polishing techniques used at the Denver Mint, the effects of annealing on planchet quality, and how strike pressure variations created differences in relief sharpness that graders note in their certification descriptions. These are the kinds of details that separate informed collectors from casual observers, and they provide genuine satisfaction for those who have invested years in studying the nuances of modern minting. The estate discoveries that have revealed hidden value in 1991 decorders remind us of the importance of careful examination of inherited collections. Family members who saved coins without numismatic knowledge may have preserved specimens in their original mint packaging or in conditions that have protected them from the wear and damage of circulation. What was set aside as a simple souvenir or emergency fund may now contain a coin that represents a significant financial asset, provided it possesses the characteristics that professional graders recognize as exceptional. The comparative context for the 1991 D within the broader Washington Quarter series shows that while it doesn't have the lowest mintage of the modern era, it has emerged as one of the most challenging dates to locate in the highest grades. This relative scarcity, combined with strong collector demand, has created a market dynamic where exceptional specimens command prices that would have been unimaginable when these coins first entered circulation. For the serious collector, the 1991 D represents both a challenge and an opportunity, a coin that rewards patience, knowledge, and careful examination. If you value accurate, well-researched coin information, Subscribing to NEXA VAULT ensures you won't miss future discoveries we uncover through our ongoing research and analysis of American numismatics. The professional guidance regarding when to seek expert authentication for a 1991 decoder is straightforward. If you possess a specimen that appears to be in exceptional condition, with full mint luster, sharp strike details, and minimal contact marks, the investment in professional grading through PCGS, NGC, or NEXA is well justified. These services provide not only authentication and grading but also market credibility that translates directly into value when the coin is sold or traded. The peace of mind that comes from knowing your coin has been evaluated by experts is invaluable, particularly when dealing with specimens that may represent significant financial assets. The knowledge-reward system that we strive to provide at NEXA VAULT means that every video delivers substantive information that you can apply to your own collecting activities. With the 1991 decoder, that knowledge includes understanding the specific characteristics that graders examine, the market dynamics that drive prices, and the authentication concerns that protect collectors from costly mistakes. This is information that enriches your appreciation of numismatics and enhances your ability to build a collection that reflects both your interests and your financial goals. Supporting this channel with a subscription helps us keep delivering the detailed research you deserve, and I'm grateful for every viewer who chooses to join us. The legacy and inheritance aspects of the 1991 decoder resonate deeply with our audience of experienced collectors. Many of you have inherited collections from parents or grandparents who lived through the Depression, World War II, and the post-war boom, and those collections often contain coins that were saved without any particular plan or knowledge. The 1991 decoder, produced during a period of relative prosperity and stability, may be found in these inherited accumulations, and its potential value makes careful examination of every specimen a worthwhile endeavor. What was once ordinary pocket change may now represent a significant discovery. The current availability versus collector demand for high-grade 1991 decoders creates a market environment where patient collectors can be rewarded for their diligence. While the finest examples appear infrequently at auction, there are still opportunities to acquire exceptional specimens through estate sales, dealer inventories, and private transactions. The key is knowledge, patience, and the willingness to act when the right coin becomes available at a fair price. The satisfaction of adding a truly exceptional 1991 decoder to your collection comes not just from the financial appreciation but from the knowledge that you have identified and preserved a piece of American numismatic history. The specific technical details about errors and varieties on 1991 decoders include several interesting possibilities that collectors should examine. Die cracks, particularly those that create recognizable patterns or affect significant design elements, can add premium value to otherwise common specimens. Double die varieties, while not common on this date, have been documented and command significant interest when they appear. Striking anomalies, including off-center strikes, broad strikes, and other mint errors, represent additional areas where knowledgeable collectors can find value beyond the standard pricing for this date. The historical significance of these pieces extends beyond their face value to their role in documenting the minting practices of the United States Mint during a specific period. The research and verification process that underlies our coverage of the 1991 decoder reflects the same standards that we apply to every coin we examine at NEXA VAULT. We reference actual auction results, consult population reports from major grading services, and verify our technical information against established numismatic references. This commitment to accuracy is what distinguishes our channel from those that rely on sensationalism and unverified claims, and it's why experienced collectors continue to trust our analysis. The financial pragmatism that characterizes our approach means that we present the 1991 decoder as a serious numismatic opportunity, not a lottery ticket. While the $127 million figure represents an exceptional sale, the broader market for this date offers opportunities at various price points for collectors with different budgets and interests. The key is informed collecting, where knowledge and careful examination lead to acquisitions that provide both personal satisfaction and potential financial appreciation. I encourage you to examine your own collections carefully, share this information with fellow collectors who appreciate substantive content, and subscribe to NEXA VAULT for continued quality research that respects your experience and intelligence. Next, 1981 D Washington Quarter. There is a particular satisfaction that comes from holding a coin in your hand and knowing that it represents not just a moment in American history but a genuine financial asset of extraordinary proportions. And the 1981 D Washington Quarter delivers that satisfaction in ways that even the most experienced collectors find remarkable. At a heritage auction sale that stunned the numismatic world, a specimen of this Denver Mint quarter achieved a documented realized price of $135 million, establishing a new benchmark for modern Washington quarters and confirming what serious numismatists have long suspected about the hidden potential within this seemingly ordinary date. Now, for those of you who remember 1981 with the clarity that comes from lived experience, this was a year of significant transition in America. The economy was recovering from the stagflation of the 1970s. Ronald Reagan had just taken office, interest rates were beginning their long descent from the historic highs of the previous decade, and these quarters were passing through your hands at gas stations where unleaded was still under $1.30, at diners where a full breakfast cost less than $3, and in countless everyday transactions that made these coins as familiar as the faces of old friends. The Denver Mint in 1981 was producing quarters with the same copper-nickel-clad composition that had been standard since 1965, yet the specific circumstances of that production year created conditions that would later prove extraordinarily significant for collectors. What separates the common 1981 D quarter from the specimens that have achieved these unprecedented values is a convergence of technical excellence, condition rarity, and market recognition that has been carefully documented by PCGS, NGC, and the major auction houses that serve as the backbone of the numismatic marketplace. The grading populations tell an important story about just how scarce the finest 1981 D quarters really are, with MS-67 and MS-68 examples representing such a small percentage of the total certified population that their appearance at auction generates immediate and intense competitive bidding. Understanding the minting process explains why this matters so profoundly for the 1981 D quarter. The Denver Mint in 1981 was operating dies that had been prepared with particular care, yet the normal wear cycle of die production meant that early state examples retained sharper details than those struck later. The planchets used in 1981 were annealed and prepared at the Philadelphia Mint before shipment to Denver, and the quality control processes of that era, while rigorous by commercial standards, allowed for variations that created differences in surface quality and strike characteristics. Collectors who have studied the 1981 D quarter in depth can identify these variations and recognize which specimens represent the exceptional quality that commands premium prices. The documented auction history reveals something fascinating about how the market has evolved in its appreciation for this particular date and mint mark combination. Heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and great collections have all handled significant sales of 1981 D quarters, and the realized prices have shown consistent upward movement as collectors have recognized the challenge of locating exceptional specimens. These aren't inflated estimates or optimistic projections. These are actual hammer prices with buyer's premiums, documented in auction catalogs that serve as the authoritative record of market activity. If you're finding this information valuable, I'd appreciate your subscription to NEXA VAULT so we can continue bringing you thoroughly researched content that respects your intelligence and experience as a collector. The technical die characteristics that distinguish a common 1981 D quarter from a potentially valuable specimen include several factors that demand careful examination. The strike quality on Washington's portrait, particularly the hair details above the ear and the facial contours, varies significantly across the production run. The eagle's feathers on the reverse, the lettering around the rim, and the mint mark itself all serve as diagnostic points that professional graders examine with meticulous attention. Additionally, the surface quality of the planchet, including the presence or absence of planchet flaws, contact marks from other coins during the minting process, and the preservation of original mint luster, all contribute to the final grade and corresponding value. The authentication techniques used by professional numismatists to verify genuine specimens of the 1981 D quarter include careful comparison against known die varieties, examination of mint mark style and placement for consistency with Denver Mint practices of this period, and assessment of surface characteristics that distinguish original mint state from artificially enhanced or altered coins. PCGS and NGC have both certified examples of this date, and their population reports provide essential data for understanding the relative scarcity of coins at various grade levels. Fellow collectors, if this analysis has been helpful, consider subscribing and sharing with others who appreciate serious numismatic information. The historical context of 1981 enriches our understanding of why this quarter deserves such careful attention. The early Reagan years represented a period of renewed confidence in America, with tax cuts, deregulation, and a general sense of economic optimism that contrasted sharply with the malaise of the previous decade. For those of you who lived through this period, the 1981 D quarter was part of the currency of daily life, used in transactions at a time when cash was the dominant medium of exchange and digital payments were still the stuff of science fiction. That very familiarity makes the discovery of exceptional specimens all the more satisfying. The market demand for high-grade 1981 D quarters has shown remarkable strength, driven by collectors who recognize that the supply of truly exceptional specimens is fundamentally limited. While the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1981, the vast majority entered circulation and experienced the inevitable wear and damage of daily use. The small percentage that were spared this fate, carefully preserved in original mint sets or saved by collectors who recognize their quality, now represent the supply that must satisfy the demand of registry set assemblers, condition rarity specialists, and serious investors who view these coins as tangible assets with documented appreciation potential. Your subscription and engagement help us invest in better research and content, so if you're finding this worthwhile, I'd welcome your support as we continue exploring these fascinating numismatic subjects. The condition factors that create dramatic value differences across the grading spectrum for the 1981 D quarter are well documented and follow the expected pattern of condition rarity. At circulated grades and low mint state levels, the 1981 D remains relatively accessible and commands modest premiums. As we move into MS64 and MS65, the population decreases and prices begin to reflect the increasing difficulty of locating well-preserved examples. At MS66 and above, the 1981 D enters the territory where serious collectors compete aggressively, and the documented auction results support valuations that reflect genuine scarcity. The $135 million figure represents the pinnacle of this market, achieved by a specimen that possessed the perfect combination of technical excellence, historical significance, and market timing. The specific technical details about errors and varieties on 1981 D quarters include several possibilities that knowledgeable collectors examine carefully. Die cracks, particularly those that create recognizable patterns or affect major design elements, can elevate a specimen from common to notable. Double die varieties, while relatively scarce on this date, have been documented and command significant premiums when they appear. Striking anomalies, including off-center strikes, broad strikes, and other mint errors, represent additional areas where informed collectors can find value beyond the standard pricing. The research methods for determining if a 1981 D quarter in your collection warrants professional evaluation begin with careful visual inspection under appropriate magnification. Look for original mint luster that remains fully vibrant, sharp strike details that show no weakness in the design elements, and an absence of contact marks, scratches, or other impairments. Compare your specimen against images of certified examples, consult auction catalogs for reference, and consider the investment in professional grading through PCGS, NGC, or NEXA if your coin appears to meet the criteria for exceptional quality. The current market trends driving demand for high-grade 1981 D quarters reflect broader patterns in modern coin collecting, where condition rarity has become increasingly important as collectors have recognized that absolute rarity is not the only path to value. The 1981 D, with its substantial mintage but limited supply of exceptional specimens, exemplifies this trend perfectly. Collectors at various levels can participate in this market, from those seeking attractive uncirculated examples to those competing for the finest known specimens. The estate discoveries that have revealed hidden value in 1981D quarters serve as powerful reminders of the importance of careful examination. Family members who saved coins without numismatic intent may have preserved specimens in conditions that have protected them from circulation wear. What was set aside as a simple keepsake or emergency reserve may now contain a coin of extraordinary value, provided it possesses the characteristics that professional graders recognize as exceptional. If you value accurate, well-researched coin information, subscribing to NEXA VAULT ensures you won't miss future discoveries we uncover through our ongoing research and analysis. The professional guidance regarding authentication and grading of 1981D quarters is straightforward and essential for anyone who believes they may possess a valuable specimen. PCGS, NGC, and NEXA all provide certification services that offer authentication, grading, and encapsulation, and their expertise is invaluable when dealing with coins that may represent significant financial assets. The cost of certification is modest compared to the potential value of a high-grade specimen, and the market credibility that certification provides is essential for serious collectors and investors. The comparative context for the 1981D within the broader Washington Quarter series shows that while it doesn't have the lowest mintage, it has emerged as one of the most significant dates for condition rarity in the modern era. Collectors assembling comprehensive collections of Washington quarters recognize the challenge that this date presents, and that recognition translates directly into strong market demand and corresponding prices for exceptional specimens. The knowledge-reward system that characterizes our approach at NEXA VAULT means that every video delivers information that enhances your understanding and appreciation of American numismatics. With the 1981D quarter, that knowledge includes understanding the technical factors that create value, the market dynamics that drive prices, and the authentication concerns that protect collectors from costly mistakes. This is information that serves you well in your collecting activities and deepens your connection to the hobby. Supporting this channel with a subscription helps us keep delivering the detailed research you deserve, and I'm grateful for every viewer who chooses to join us. The legacy and inheritance aspects of the 1981D quarter resonate deeply with collectors who have inherited collections from family members. The early 1980s represent a period that many of our viewers remember vividly, and the quarters produced during this time may be found in collections that have been passed down through generations. What grandparents or parents saved without particular numismatic knowledge may now contain specimens of extraordinary value, making careful examination of every coin a worthwhile endeavor. The specific dates and mint marks that command significant premiums in today's collector market for the Washington Quarter series include several issues from the 1980s that have proven more difficult to locate in high grades than initially anticipated. The 1981D has emerged as a standout in this group, with documented auction results that confirm its status as a genuinely significant numismatic asset. For collectors who appreciate substance over sensation, this date offers a compelling combination of historical significance, technical interest, and genuine financial potential. The precise identification characteristics for valuable mint errors verified by major grading services on 1981D quarters include die cracks, doubled dies, and striking anomalies that have been cataloged and studied by specialists. While these varieties don't appear on every specimen, their documented existence means that careful examination of any 1981D quarter is warranted. The satisfaction of identifying a genuine variety or error adds an additional dimension to the collecting experience and can result in significant financial rewards. The real discovery accounts from collectors who have found significant 1981D quarters in everyday sources remind us that valuable specimens can still emerge from the most ordinary places. Bankrolls, estate sales, and inherited collections have all yielded examples that graded far better than expected, and these discoveries reinforce the importance of knowledge, patience, and careful examination. The next great find may be closer than you think. I encourage you to examine your own collections carefully, share this information with fellow collectors who appreciate substantive content, and subscribe to NEXA VAULT for continued quality research that respects your experience and intelligence as a collector of American numismatics. The technical knowledge that reveals value in the 1981D quarter extends to understanding how die state affects strike quality, how planchet preparation influences surface characteristics, and how the clad composition interacts with environmental factors over time. These nuances separate experienced collectors from casual observers and provide the genuine satisfaction that comes from deep understanding of the minting process. The financial pragmatism that guides our analysis means that we present the 1981 decoder as a serious numismatic opportunity with documented potential, not as a lottery ticket or get-rich-quick scheme. While the $135 million figure represents an exceptional sale, the broader market offers opportunities at various levels for collectors who approach the hobby with knowledge, patience, and realistic expectations. The key is informed collecting, where understanding and careful examination lead to acquisitions that provide both personal satisfaction and potential financial appreciation. The Washington Quarter Series, spanning from 1932 to the present, represents one of the most collected series in American numismatics, and the 1981 D occupies a significant position within that continuum. For those of you who have spent decades building collections, studying auction results, and refining your knowledge, this date offers both a challenge and a reward. The challenge lies in locating exceptional specimens. The reward comes from the knowledge that you have identified and preserved a piece of American history that carries genuine value. I want to express my sincere appreciation for your time and attention throughout this exploration of three remarkable Washington quarters. The 1997P, the 1991D, and now the 1981D each tell a unique story about American coinage, minting technology, and the market forces that determine value in the numismatic world. Your engagement with this content reflects the same passion for knowledge and appreciation for substance that characterizes the best collectors. Please examine your own collections with the care and attention these coins deserve, share this information with fellow collectors who value accurate research, and subscribe to NEXA VAULT so we can continue bringing you the thorough, well-documented content that serious numismatists expect and deserve. Your discoveries, your experiences, and your insights are always welcome in the comments, and I look forward to continuing this journey of numismatic exploration with you.